Though the franchise has been around for over 50 years.
Neat. Sweet.
Netflix's Wednesday is the first iteration to give the mysterious and spooky daughter of the Addams family serious screen time. Former Disney princess Jenna Ortega is the actor responsible for this bold new imagining. And in this video, we'll tell you what she has in common with Hannibal Lecter, the scary secret behind that infectious dance sequence. And why not talking to a fellow actress was so crucial to nailing the role of Wednesday Addams. Because of their work on Smallville, Wednesday showrunners Alfred Goff and Miles Miller are no strangers to putting new twists on classic characters. Once they got Tim Burton on board to direct, the challenge became casting an actor who could embody a new version of Wednesday, who's part teen detective, part outcast among outcasts, and all on her own. Enter Jenna Ortega, an actor whose career path began at 9 years old when her mom posted a video on Facebook that was scooped up by a casting director. Ortega says she's often been compared to Wednesday and that she felt like her dark and quirky personality made her a shoo-in for the role.
And I'm a weirdo in used to perform autopsies on little animals when I was younger. Like little lizards that I found that were dead in my backyard.
She even recalls saying something to Tim Burton at her audition that the famously spooky director deemed too dark. When Tim Burton thinks you're too dark, you know you were made to play Wednesday. At first glance, Wednesday can appear one-note, expressionless, the goth girl epitome of resting witch face. But there's so much more going on there.
At some point during the first couple weeks of shooting, I did a take where I did not blink at all. And Tim said, I don't want you to blink anymore.
If this technique sounds familiar, it's because it's been used to portray another iconic ghoul.
I met a madman who was on the loose in London, and that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
And I had coffee with him one day, and I realized how nuts he was. He never blinked. So I based
That's
that
interesting.
Never blinked.
I'm a homicidal maniac. They look just like everyone else.
We'll get to you in a second, Christina. Ortega also took inspiration from a director famous for bringing the sinister to life.
Because every time we started a take, I would reset my face, I would drop all the muscles in my face, and Tim really liked the Kubrick stare where I stared through my eyebrows. It's just a bit intimidating. I think something like that is not blinking.
Because so much of this performance is centered in the eyes, Tim Burton had meticulous requirements for Wednesday's bangs. He perfectly parted them at an angle down the middle so Ortega's face is almost set up like a stage. This placement makes it all the more shocking when the curtains part, as Wednesday is whipped back by the force of her visions. Almost to imply that we get the clearest look at Wednesday when she's forced to let her guard down. Ortega says she approached this role like a silent film actor, and that influence shows in every subtle glance. She also says that playing Wednesday may have permanently affected her body.
Physicality-wise, it's funny, I think my posture has improved immensely since working on that job because I always made sure I had a straight back. I didn't move my hands or arms much if I didn't have to.
In addition to all that awards-worthy eye acting and straight-backed stoicism, Ortega also had to learn a bevy of special skills to embody the accomplished Wednesday. She spent hours with private tutors learning fencing, archery, cello, and German. So when you see her performing those feats on screen, it's the real deal.
I give stunt coordinators such immense anxiety. I will throw myself on the floor, off a wall. I'll drive cars at 90 to 100 miles per hour.
But perhaps the acting choice that gave everyone, including Ortega, the most anxiety came during the now internet famous dance scene. It would be impressive enough that she choreographed the dance herself and based her moves in part off of Susie Sue's Happy House music video and some OG Addams flexing. But Ortega also performed this flawless routine while she had a raging case of COVID. In an interview with Enemy, Ortega says, "I woke up and I had the body aches. I felt like I'd been hit by a car and that a little goblin had been let loose in my throat and was scratching the walls of my esophagus." The shooting schedule was so tight that Ortega had to keep doing the scene all while waiting for her test results. Once she tested positive, she was escorted off set to quarantine, meaning she couldn't do a different take.
I still lay awake at night staring up the ceiling thinking, I should have done this.
But frankly, Ortega dances better with a fever and a goblin in her throat than most of us do on a normal day. Which is a good thing, since Wednesday Addams has been showing off killer moves since 1964. When it came time to crafting the character, Ortega took inspiration from Billie Eilish, and also her own background as a Latina.
Most admirable qualities about the Addams family, or why so many people love them so much, is because they're the
healthiest family in America. They're very, very close, and they care about each other a lot, and then they bully each other and push each other around. It's very clear that they would do anything for each other. And I also feel like that's very similar to Latin families.
Yeah.
Me and my family, we talked so much trash, but if someone was gonna say something to my brother during recess, all of us would kind of line up and gang up and we're ready to.
Around here, we have nothing but love for Wednesday Addams. But one place Ortega was careful not to look for inspiration was co-star Christina Ricci, who played Wednesday in 2 90s adaptations, but shows up in the Netflix show to play Marilyn Thornhill. Ortega made such a conscious effort not to be influenced by Ricci's past version that she tried to never talk to her about it on set.
Christina didn't join the shoot till towards the end. I was a really big admirer of her work. The strange thing is we never talked about her being Wednesday once. I think maybe one time on the last week of shooting I made a reference to her Wednesday, but I think that we both were able to appreciate the fact that they were going to be different. I didn't want to knock her off, and I didn't want to be doing some impression of her, and I think it was really important that we just kept our ideas separate.
The ability to not let others define you.
Thanks in part to Ortega's stellar performance, Wednesday set a record for Netflix by racking up 341 million watches in the first week, and over 7 million by week 2. It also took the #1 spot in many countries, surpassing the streaming service's previous big hit, Stranger Things Season 4. At the time of recording, the show has yet to be renewed for a new season, but we'll all have our fingers crossed that soon we'll get an answer to all the Season 1 cliffhangers and a second helping of Jenna Ortega's snappy performance. Whose Wednesday did you like better, Jenna Ortega or Christina Ricci? Tell us in the comments and sound off about what actor we should cover next.